Awesome. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us, and welcome Natalie Visconti from LastPass. Thank you so much for joining us today on our customer webinar. I just am so excited to talk to you. We have so much to get into, to talk about your background, what happened when you got on PartnerTap, some exciting news that you're going to share that knocked my socks off yesterday. So without further ado, welcome. Let's get into it. Maybe you can start, for those that aren't familiar with LastPass and a little bit about you and your company. Let's start there and then just see where it goes. Does that sound fun?
Yeah, that sounds great. And thank you so much, Autumn. So yeah, I'm Natalie Visconti and I work with LastPass. And just to kind of give a high level overview on LastPass, we are a player in the identity space with a huge focus on password management. Since I joined actually last year of January, so about a year now. And before that, I came from CDW. I was a seller there. I was a field seller at Okta, then went over to the channel and just kind of got over to LastPass. So I've definitely been in the space for some time now. And when we first joined, LastPass was just very direct B2B and also our B2C, because we have a consumer model too. And since then, we found the whole kind of just switching over the channel and being more channel friendly. And with that, we had PartnerTap. So that's kind of how we all got started, and looking forward to getting into more detail from that.
Awesome. Well, awesome again to have you here. And it's a great segue. I want to let's set the stage for the audience. First of all, for those that don't know what LastPass is, shame on you, because LastPass is the critical piece of infrastructure that every company should have, whether it's your company or, like you said, your personal use of a platform. LastPass is something that protects you from all of your passwords getting out there. So great tool to have. That's my personal infomercial. But Natalie, let's get into some of your partners. Who are some of the partners that you work with and who LastPass works with?
Yeah. So I currently work in the strategy area for nationals. So I'll go into nationals and some of the regional VARs too. But we currently work with CDW, SHI, Insight, Soft Choice Connections, Optiv, GuidePoint, a lot of the big players in that space. We're also getting the distribution model too. And so we're getting into that space as well, but also from the regional perspective, we have Alchemy, we have Tavora, a lot of those, medium-sized businesses that can help us regionally. So definitely we are onboarding, and that's not even forgetting our MSP area. So we have channel from MSP to smaller VARs to larger VARs and to nationals. So pretty much everyone in the space.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, it sounds like there are a lot of growth opportunities this year in 2023. And I know there's changes that LastPass is going through from a brand and from a growth perspective. So, I'm really excited to watch where you're headed. And, it's interesting. I typically find that high growth companies have employees that have high growth potential and mentality. And, you're somebody that when we talk about a growth mindset, you're somebody that really truly embodies that. And I think there's a great story around how you found PartnerTap. Yeah. And some might say it turned out to be pretty awesome. Mm-hmm. So let's get into that a little bit. If that's something that you're okay with, let's talk about how you found us and, what that was like when you found our PartnerTap tool.
Of course. Yeah. So like I said, I started in January, and when I started, they had me as a regional partner manager at that time. And really what that was is I had to uncover net new opportunities, kind of work side by side with the sales reps. And from there, I wanted to leverage a tool set, because when I came from Okta, we had someone who did account mappings for us, but it would take some time. And I was just more of hey, is there a tool we can get to account map? And then that's when my counterpart Martha, and she covers SHI, she said oh yeah, we have this tool, PartnerTap, you should look into it. And from there, we had conversations with Jessie, which she's phenomenal. She has helped us from beginning to end. We would not be here without her, to be perfectly honest. So when she walked me through the tool set, I uploaded some of the CW lists I had. And I just saw so much opportunity, like just in our hot prospects alone. Which is like, if people have not seen that within the PartnerTap tool, I'm going to use Autumn's phrase, then shame on you, because at that point, we were able to see the customers that CDW had and the open opportunities for us. And we had like over 15,000, and just so much opportunity. I can keep saying that. So from that point on, I was like, hey, well, how can I get my sales leaders to see this? And so I just had conversations after conversations with everybody of, hey, I have these CDW lists. Someone come help me with this. And that's where, and we'll talk into further detail, but as a high level, like the BDR pilot came into play. So we had some BDRs who were able to come assist us and do some outbound dialing to CDW and say, hey, we align on these accounts. Let's have some conversations. And just from there, we were able to get a lot of traction, which led us to, like what Autumn was saying, we just had our sales kickoff and I made it to President's Club, my first time ever. And so I'm really excited because the first year we grew our CDW number 4 times. And that was from us not having any really major relationship within CDW. And now LastPass is starting to have conversations with CDW as a whole, as someone, as a player, in comparison to some of our competition within the space. So I'm really excited for this year.
Congratulations. That is so exciting. I mean, to go from where you were before and to where you are now, where you can accelerate and have support to grow even further, that's definitely a growth mentality. So let me ask you a question. Is it pretty normal for you to just kind of like go after tools in the tech stack and find them? Or was that like a random occurrence when you identified?
I would say that definitely started when I joined LastPass. So back in Okta, we had a bunch of tool sets. And so it was definitely different on that front. Like I started to learn more about different technologies that we could leverage. So when it came to LastPass, it just seemed like we had a bunch of tool sets and we were allowed to even onboard and have some conversations. And so it felt a little bit more freeing to grow our company. So they really trust us in the sense of like, hey, if you have this idea, bring it to the table and let us know the ROI. Which started to have me like leverage that mindset. I would say right now, I learned that from LastPass to start asking more questions to say, hey, like, can we leverage PartnerTap more? And that's where we had some go-to-market calls, and, you know, we're going to launch PartnerTap to a lot of our channel like this year. So it's definitely something that's new for us and I would just even kind of take a step back too. We didn't leverage PartnerTap to the extent that we should have when we first started. And I had to do some trial and errors from that. And we did it on a one-to-one basis. And now we were able to scale it. So yes and no to that question. It's just more of, I didn't learn right off the bat to ask more questions about applications. I had to just kind of do some trial and errors to find out, oh, wait, well, how do we use this? And that's when I asked Jessie, like, what's the best case scenario? And that's when she just showed me from beginning to end. And I'm like, okay, well, then we can do it this way. Let's use it correctly.
Yeah, I think, you know, when you embrace technology and you give it like get on the application and you apply your use case, I think what you find is that there's like multiple ways to use it and have a better result. You know, whether you're using it one-on-one or you're using it on a one-to-many basis. We see a lot of companies that, you know, if they have a partner that's willing to connect with them and do a lot of that, you know, connection at that broad level, man, it's crazy how much growth you can have with that. So, so it sounds like people are taking notice, like that you're having this success and that, you know, you're expanding the use of the solution. You know, where do you see yourself going? Like, what are some of your big goals for the next year?
Yeah, I would say like this year, I even told my manager this, we just scratched the surface. And from growing our number 4 times for CDW, what I want to do and what the plan is for this year is for all the nationals to kind of row in the same direction. So we do have lists for SHI. We do have lists for Insight. And it's just repeating that process of, hey, let's get everyone going. And then from there, let's grow it like 5 times more. Let's start asking for MOUs. And so it's starting to really like move our trucks along. And like, I'm telling my sales team, like, hey, pitch your wagon to mine and let's just keep going. So where we're going is more of a channel friendly company, where before we were direct. And that's just started to really help that conversation. So like as an example, sales kickoff, we had a whole channel day, and we brought Alchemy on board to have some conversations about like how to work with the channel. Our sellers are starting to get it. And the ones who actually made President's Club too really did work with the channel. So we did leverage the tools that we use from PartnerTap of like, hey, you align with this account for this many people, now go after it. And like just kind of like a high level too, before we didn't have regions. Our regional partner managers were regionally based, and that's how we utilized PartnerTap last year. But now our sellers are going to be regionalized. So the opportunities are endless at this point. Now we can really go after it. And by the 4-time growth for CW alone, now we can grow 5 times, 6 times more, just being regionally based and leveraging the PartnerTap solution. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I'm really excited for what's happening at your organization and for you. And I really just can't wait to continue to partner with you and to see you at our Fempire event that's coming in Scottsdale in like a week or 2.
Yeah.
Corner. It's just so much fun to get a chance to kind of hear more about your story and to hear about what you just shared about you going out, finding a piece of technology, putting that solution in place, and driving a partner mindset throughout the organization, so much so that now you actually have changed the direction of the organizational structure of your company to encourage more partner mindset behavior and activity, because it is so lucrative. So to me, like I can't think of a more interesting just turn of events by someone just being not afraid to embrace a solution and have it grow throughout the organization. So man, I mean, I'm so happy. It's like so amazing. So I'm so grateful that we had this time to connect and to hear more about your story. Hopefully you can come back again and we can get an update next year and talk about the next big thing that's going to happen. But before we jump, I know we have a lot of people on the call, so I'm going to lean on Scott here, who's our digital control of the webinar, to kind of see if there's any questions for you, Natalie.
Of course.
Yes, so it looks like we do have a couple of questions. Let me just open up the chat here real quick. Okay, so the first question is, yeah, it's definitely about LastPass, and it's asking why didn't LastPass scale up PartnerTap in the beginning? So I think, yeah, what was the issue there, or why didn't you guys do it?
I would say so necessarily LastPass didn't have the license, and so our other company did. And I can't really go into full detail on that, but we had another company that we were a part of that had the licenses. And so we just kind of snagged it on, and now LastPass is utilizing it. Where before, I just think there was like enablement, really people didn't understand, or maybe just didn't know how to go about it. And so when we actually were able to go into depth with Jesse, that's when we're like, oh, we can leverage it the correct way. So it wasn't anything of like nobody not wanting to. I just don't know. I don't think they knew when to start. And then also based off the license count, because it was on the other side. So
yeah, it makes sense. And Jesse is definitely a rock star when it comes to customer success. So okay. And then there's another question that says, how long did it take to roll out PartnerTap? And then how long did it take to see value?
So I can talk from the specifics of what we're going to do now. And it's only based off of our Salesforce so it doesn't take long to roll out from my understanding, and Autumn, correct me if I'm wrong on that. But where we're stuck on is our own Salesforce instance. So we're going to roll this out to the channel. That will be in the second half of the year. And that's only due to our like manpower. The ROI alone, just to like, for us, it was right away. Once we were able to load lists and have them be connected to our Salesforce correctly, and that's again, just due to our side, then we were able to see that we had like 15,000 hot prospects. And that was just based off 3 lists alone for one partner alone.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That was right away.
To answer your question, like how long does it deploy? And most of our customers, Natalie, they're live, if depending upon what size, right? Like the enterprise is a little different. Mid-market organizations are up in a week. But you know, within, and I'm talking about like they're on, their data's on, their partners are on, everyone's humming. And then they're at the point where they can really get down to business and bring partner people together.
Yeah.
Enterprise companies a little bit different, but not too heavy of a lift. I think that's one of the nice things is I think getting to the point where you have value, and you might be able to talk to this, like if you're logging into a system and it's not showing you anything and you're not having success, how likely are you to gonna go back in it? I wouldn't. I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Okay, so this next question is kind of a good follow-up, actually. So it says, how did you estimate the ROI when you pitched a paid account to your company? I'm not sure if you were involved in that, Natalie, but
No, I wasn't involved in it, but I was involved in it for the second half of it. Really, and it's not, maybe it sounds a little bit cliche too. I just showed them my dashboard. So I didn't like create like a whole PowerPoint and all this. I'm like, hey, you want to see the ROI? Like, here you go. Let's really go through this side by side. So we went on our go-to because we don't use Zoom. And so I just shared my screen. I showed them my whole PartnerTap dashboard, which alone is just so easy to read, easy to use, and everyone can see it because you can go by industries. And I just kind of pitched it to, hey, like for your sales teams, we had the go-to-market person there. And then we also had like our operations team there. And I was like, for, this person's sales team, they have these many accounts. Just based off hot prospects alone, I had to explain what hot prospects were. And I just went into certain industries from there. So really just leveraging our dashboard, because I did set it up with Jesse for it to like be easy to read and just saying like, hey, like this is what we're going to use. This is the list we're going to use. And this is how I'm going to bring it up to them.
that's awesome. I love that. It's like, just check it out for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
Speak for itself. Okay. And then
I love that it wasn't hard for you to do,
No, I kind of went back to my sales stuff. So I'm like, let me just show you.
Yeah, because your job isn't to bring in sales tools. It's to make money for LastPass.
Okay, this is the last question that we've got, and it says, hi Natalie, I am a software rep who works with channel partners. I see the value in PartnerTap with account mapping, etc. What are some of the tactics you used with your team management to get buy-in to look at PartnerTap? I guess that's kind of a similar follow-up, but
yeah. So for that, and it's actually funny at the end of the year. So first off, hi, and thank you. But the second half of the year, sales started to ask about PartnerTap. And so it meant like a lot of the conversations were kind of going around, because with the BDR campaign that we did, I had to show the PartnerTap tool and what it was and how we leveraged it. Just because, and the other part too is LastPass just didn't understand, like our sellers, and just because no one did it, was what is account mapping? How can you bring value to CDW, or like, for them to us, and like, what does this look like? So we had to go from the ground up of enablement and just show what is a true partner, why do you work with them, what's the value, go on from there. So it was a lot of one-to-one conversations with sales teams and sales management and just so on from there. But so I would say it was a little bit more grunt work up front just to get them all on board. And then I'm more of a proof of concept person, and numbers talk. And so when we saw the numbers, and we said, like, we did a subset test of 100 accounts, and we only did it in 60 days. And within those 60 days, we got 30 responses out of CDW saying, yes, like, here's my list. Yes, let's have some conversations. Yes, we can connect here. And that was not even with incentives. Like, it was just CDW saying like, hey, I want a reason to dial. Give me a reason to call. And that was me putting back my CDW hat on. I'm like, this is how it is, because you have to make 60 dials a day, 3 hours of talk time, I believe. And it's still the same way to this day. And so it was just more of building that connection and just showing them on a one-to-one basis. And then from there, they all started to get it by seeing it happen more, and like deals come back to them if they actually took the time.
awesome. So just a lot of the seeing it in action, right? So
Yes.
that's great. That's great.
So,
Yeah, you can't stop a growth mindset. It's inherent.
yeah. And it's like, you get back into the groove of things. Like, you go back into the sales process. And so just got my hands dirty with it.
Awesome. Well, that's great. I'm so excited. Any more questions? Are we?
That's it. That's all of them. So I guess that's
Natalie, thank you so much. I can't wait to see you again. We'll get to have a glass of champagne and toast to your success. I look forward to a lot of growth this year. Let's go slay. Thank you.
I'm excited. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thanks, Scott.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.